All right, I'm bringing it back. So a few years ago, probably like pre-pandemic, I used to do this thing on Fridays called This Week in Real Estate. I'm gonna bring it back, kind of twist it, remix it a little bit. But the whole premise of it is to kind of go through my week in real estate, what happened, and I want to incorporate like some lessons, and eventually it will evolve to what I'm calling a micro podcast. But we're gonna start and just kind of let it evolve because if I don't start it, I'm never gonna do it. So this is the restart, re-kickoff of this week in real estate. So this week started off with some like business side, back end stuff. I met with a bookkeeper. I've been keeping my books myself in a spreadsheet. And it's chaotic because I hate administrative work. So I just put it off until the absolute last minute. And when I say last minute, I mean like tax time last minute, which just causes a whole bunch of problems. So I'm trying to get better. So I met with the bookkeeper to kind of get that in line. And then probably like the next day, 2 days later, I get my water bills emailed to me because some of our properties, they only have 1 meter. So I charge back water. And the bill was like $3,700. And I called like, I think y'all like read my meter wrong. The lady puts me on hold and she goes through and she was like, no, we saw it was high ourselves. So we went back out to make sure that it was right. And yeah, you got something going on. So I emailed all the tenants like, hey, does anyone have a leaky faucet? Is anyone's toilet running? Basically like always trying to fill itself. And this is a 4-unit building. One of the tenants emailed back like, hey, yeah, my toilet's running. So that is my problem and why my water bill is so high. So gone ahead and I actually didn't get it fixed yet. Plumber scheduling just didn't line up. So gonna get that fixed. And then one thing that I learned a couple years ago that you can do when you have a leak, at least in like my area, is do a high bill adjustment. So basically go in, find the leak, find the issue, fix it, and then send that invoice with a form to the water company saying, hey, I actually didn't use that water. It was a leak or a running toilet. They don't credit you all of the money back, but they do knock off like a good chunk of it. So planning on getting that like resolved tomorrow. And then I'll be able to do that form, submit the invoice for the repair, and hopefully they're nice to me and knock off a good chunk of that water bill. What else? So we're supposed to have a move-in at one of our vacant properties. It was supposed to be the 19th. And when I reached out to the guy like, hey, you moving in today? He was like, oh, the bank is like closed today, so I can't get the money order. So he wanted to push it back. So a couple things in this, right? One, I move in, I only accept verified funds. So money orders, or you can Zelle me because that's like straight to my account. So that's one thing. And then two, I kind of have already had like a feeling about him because of how he paid his deposit. So when I accepted tenant, I sent him an email like, yo, you need to pay your deposit. So I stopped marketing the property. And anyone that pays or just like can't pay their deposit or like has an issue paying their deposit, from my experience, they usually end up not being a great tenant. And he kind of like broke up his deposit. So that was a red flag one. Number two, red flag, like on our move-in date, not being able to move in. So he's like, oh, I'll move in the next day. So it was the 20th, whatever day of the week that was. So I call him just to make sure because he went to move in at 5 p.m., get the keys at 5 p.m. So I call him a little bit earlier in the day, no answer. So about 4, I call him again like, hey, you still moving in today? And he's like, yeah, like I'll be there at 5. So at 4:55, 1:55 my time. So I live in California, invest in Virginia. I get a text message like, yeah, I got the money orders. I stopped by my aunt's house to go pee or use the restroom, and I come out and my money is gone. I've called the police. I'm waiting to get them here so I can figure out what happened to my money. So he's telling me that somebody in his auntie's house stole his money orders, so he can't move in. So yeah, real fishy. And I've had a tenant do something similar before where he went to the ATM to get cash and left the cash there by accident, and then someone stole his money. So I've heard a similar story. So what's gonna happen, or what I'm gonna do with this tenant, is just tell him like, you know, thank you for trying to go through the process, but I'm gonna go ahead and refund you your deposit. We haven't signed a lease, so we don't have like a real agreement. And you can go find another place. I'm gonna find another tenant. But yeah, it's just always interesting. There's always something with tenants, always like little red flags, and the red flags usually always end up being like the real thing. The issue is behind the red flag. On the other side, a more positive note, we accepted a Section 8 tenant probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago for another vacancy that we had, and we got basically her rent verification approval this week. So with a Section 8 process, you market the property, find the tenant, accept them, and then once you accept a Section 8 tenant, at least in my market, I have to fill out some paperwork that they have and send it to their case manager, or it's called case manager. The case manager sends it to another department to verify that I'm not trying to charge Section 8 too much for the rent. And so that verification came back this week. So I had to fill out another form, basically a W-9. So at the end of the year, they can send me a document for taxes, 1098 or 10, I think it's a 1098. So got those documents filled out and back to the caseworker, and then I was able to schedule an inspection. So gonna have a Section 8 inspection on Tuesday morning, forget the exact time. Gonna do my best. I don't plan on passing this inspection, just because Section 8 inspections, I've had a good amount of them, and I never pass on the first time. If you have Section 8 tenants and you pass your inspection on the first time, please drop a comment and let me know, because I feel like it's really, really rare. I feel like Section 8 inspectors get paid on their failings, and they have like a quota to meet, and so they fail you on like the craziest stuff. I failed one time because there was a rip in the seal on the on the refrigerator, like I forget what it's called. It's like a little rubber piece on the top, and they failed me for that. So stuff that has nothing to do with the condition of the property and someone actually being able to live there and enjoy the property, but they get paid based on failings, in my opinion. So gonna go through this first inspection, basically get the list of things that they failed me for and then adjust those. I mean, of course, do my prep, all the things that I see, try to get handled, or we've done that, but I don't plan on passing. So that's that process. And then on a Section 8 tenant that I had, I think I've had this tenant for like 5 years. She's one of my first, I think she's the only tenant I've had in this property that I have. And I've had it for like 5 years, and I've never increased her rent. So I am going to increase her rent, and the process has changed since she moved in the first couple years. So how to reach out to Section 8 to just understand what the process is, and going to do that process this next week coming up, and I have to give her 90 days, so it won't actually the increase won't go into effect until October-ish, but I'm gonna increase her rent $300, which sounds crazy, but she's Section 8. So the portion of her rent that she's responsible for is based on her income, and it's basically capped. So right now, whatever her rent is, she can only pay so much. So that increase, if approved, which it should be because it's what the market is now, will just come directly from Section 8. So I'm not gonna be burdening that tenant with an extra $300 a month. That's gonna come directly from the Section 8 program. So that'd be nice going into the holidays, having $300 more in my pocket for doing nothing additional. Also, what else we do? Looked at a few more deals. So I haven't done any flips this year. Just I have to tell you guys about just the flips that I have been trying to sell. But the flip business has been so far, but I'm like picking it back up, getting back in the groove. So analyzed a few deals, made a few offers, trying to look for that next project. Um, Also accepted, well, got the deposit from a tenant that we accepted, or I accepted probably like a week ago. So I accepted her, and then she just like went ghost. I like left her a voicemail, sent her an email, and just like went ghost. And then she just popped up, was it Friday, Saturday, like late Friday, like, hey, how do I pay my deposit? And I was like, it's an email I sent you. So traded a few messages with her and was able to get her deposit sent over electronically. So got that unit filled in theory, and then we'll be processing her for a July 1 move-in. So I got to tell you a story about this unit too. I had a lot of stories that I haven't like talked about, so there's plenty of content. But this property has been vacant for a couple months, just because the neighbor downstairs, well, the upstairs unit was vacant, and then that guy, when he moved out, the downstairs neighbor was such hell that I didn't even want to try to place anyone upstairs, just because I knew it would be a battle with the tenant downstairs, him being there. So I kicked him out. If you go back on my profile, you'll see like this trash looking unit that was the downstairs unit in this property. So got him out, got the upstairs unit ready, been marketing it. So that one, I'm happy because it's been vacant for probably a year now, just because I just didn't want to deal with it. So getting cash flow there will be nice and not have to kind of have that mortgage at the bottom line anymore. And then what else happened? So we talked about how flips have been slow, but one that we've had on the market for a very long time is scheduled to close Monday morning. So I had to sign the documents for that closing, and I signed them Friday afternoon. And this was my first time using a like e-notary or virtual notary. Usually I have a mobile notary that comes to the crib, or I'll just go to the UPS store and like have them notarize the documents. But this time I got set up with a mobile notary, and it was actually pretty easy. So I had to like upload my ID, send a selfie to kind of guess they're matching the images, and then kind of like a video conference. The lady that was doing the notary had basically marked all the places that I need to sign. We're in like a video chat scenario. She uploads or like pops up the documents. We discussed what the document is, and I just click sign, and she like e-notarizes the document. So that was my first time using an e-notary, and I actually like it a lot. I think if I would have to choose, I'd probably choose the mobile notary that comes to the house, e-notary, and then of course going somewhere to notarize. And I only say the mobile notary I like it the most because the dude that I like have do my mobile notaries, I've been using him for like a year or two, and he's hella cool. So like he'll come, we'll notarize documents, and we'll just sit and chop it up for a minute. But it's my first time using a virtual notary. Has anyone else ever used a virtual notary? If you have, let me know what you think about it and if it's a thing. I don't know if it's in every state. I don't think California lets you do it, but this again is a closing in Virginia, so they allow virtual notaries there. That was the highlights of the week. Of course, there's always little stuff in there, little phone calls, text messages, but that was my week in real estate. So I'm gonna try to do these weekly. I'm gonna let it evolve and it'll get better, but just wanted to get back on the horse, so to speak, and drop the first revision of this. Let me know if you have any questions. Always happy to talk about what's going on and the things that I've kind of dropped here. But that's this week in real estate.